Welcome to 5 Minute Bible, your daily guide for your daily reading. Today's April the 26th, and we'll be looking at Psalms 73 and 77 through 78. Now today we step into the Psalms of Asaph, and this is an important shift for us to understand because Asaph is not a random figure in the Bible. He was one of the chief musicians who was appointed by David to lead worship in David's kingdom. He stood at the center of Israel's liturgical life, shaping how the people sang and remembered and understood their God. That means that these psalms aren't disconnected from the narrative of David. They actually belong to the world that David is building. A kingdom where worship and memory and truth are all being forged together. And in these Psalms, we hear what that formation sounds like when faith is tested. Psalm 73 opens with a crisis. Asaph looks out at the world and sees the wicked are prospering while the righteous are suffering, and it nearly unravels him. But everything changes when he enters into the presence of God. There he sees what's actually real, realer than real. The end of the wicked is not prosperity, but it's ruin. And the nearness of God becomes Asaph's greatest good. Then in Psalm 77, we move a bit deeper into Asaph's distress. The psalmist cries out, wondering if God has forgotten his promises. But instead of staying there, he turns deliberately to remembrance, calling to mind God's mighty acts, especially from the redemption of the people of Israel from Egypt. And he finds his footing again, recalling the faithfulness of God. Then Psalm 78 widens the lens completely, and it retells Israel's history, exposing the repeated pattern of Israel's forgetfulness and rebellion and discipline, but yet it doesn't end there because it ends with God choosing David, rising up a shepherd who's going to lead his people with integrity moving forward. So the movement in these passages is clear. From personal doubt to intentional remembrance to a sweeping story that exalts the faithfulness of God. So as you read today, I want you to ask the following question. What do we do when reality does not seem to match what we know is true about God? Because these Psalms aren't avoiding that tension. They're teaching us how to walk through trials and hard circumstances. The tension running through these Psalms is the gap between what appears to be true and what is actually true. In Psalm 73, the world actually looks upside down. The wicked are flourishing, the faithful are struggling, and it feels like righteousness does not pay. In Psalm 77, the tension turns inward. The question is no longer just about the world out there, but about God himself. Has he changed? Has he forgotten me? Is he still faithful? In Psalm 78, the tension becomes generational. God has acted powerfully again and again in the past, yet his people continually forget, drift, and rebel in the present. And yet in every one of these Psalms, the way forward is the same. Not in new circumstances, not in the improvement of our situation, but with a renewed vision. Asaph enters the sanctuary. He enters into the presence of God, and then he sees clearly again. His vision is blurred when he's looking at the things of the world, but his vision is clear when he's looking at God. The psalmist remembers God's work and steadies his heart. Israel is commanded to tell the story over and over and over again to the next generation so they will not forget what? That it was God who saved them. That it was God who delivered them, that it's God who blesses them, that it's God who delivers them, that it's God who vindicates them, that it's God who will punish the wicked. That's the pattern. Faith is sustained by seeing God in every circumstance, seeing his hand of providence, seeing how he rightly is leading his people, seeing how he is the one who's protecting us, providing for us, and delivering us into his promises. So that if we want to learn how to see rightly, we will see God's hand in everything, both the good and the bad, both the easy and the hard. That is the pattern. And all of it points forward to Jesus Christ, because the confusion of Psalm 73 is resolved in him. The apparent prosperity of the wicked is not the final word, because God, through Christ, is going to, because God through Christ is going to bring a judgment that is far more real, far more final, and far more unavoidable than we could even imagine. The remembrance in Psalm 77 finds its greatest fulfillment in Jesus as well. The Exodus defined Israel, but the cross and the resurrection are going to define the entire world. This is the greater act of redemption that anchors the people of God. And then in Psalm 78, it points directly to our need for a faithful shepherd. Israel failed. Its leaders failed, but God raised up David as a shepherd king, and even that was only pointing forward to Jesus, the good shepherd of his sheep, the son of David who will not fail, the one who doesn't forget, the one who does not lead his people into ruin, but into life. In Jesus, the tension between what we see and what is true is finally and perfectly resolved, and his kingdom advances as that truth becomes clearer and clearer in our world. So as you read these Psalms, I want you to watch how remembering God, remembering to look to God, remembering God's works and all of his faithfulness, it will reshape our doubt and restore clarity to our sight. And tomorrow we're going to continue forward and see how God's kingdom continues to take shape under his chosen King David. And with that, I want you to read your Bible carefully, devotionally, and joyfully, and may the Lord use his word to sanctify you completely, and we will continue our journey tomorrow. God bless you.